Mankind must put an end to war. A war will put an end to mankind.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Well, I'm not drunk. I learned everything I got.
Change will not come if we wait for some other person.
Hello, Internet. This is Elliot, and this is the Blind Partisan Podcast. I'm here, as usual, with my victim, Jacob.
Elliot and I have both been on work vacation stuff for a couple weeks, each of us. So
Vacation.
yeah, it was not really a vacation, but
No.
so we've both been away for a while. So it's been a little bit, but that means we're refreshed, maybe.
That's
Probably
the
not.
theory.
Probably not. And ready to talk about politics, and particularly this week, we're talking about.
I have a list of the candidates that have announced so far.
Yes. And I know we've talked about this briefly before, but this is one topic really dive down into.
As much as we can,
Yeah.
because, I wouldn't say that I'm an expert on all these people. I mean, some of them I barely have heard of.
That's the fun of this. Right?
And I'm going to take my information that I read off, especially like people that I don't really know, from Ballotpedia. I feel like that. I don't know. What do you think about that as a source?
That's a good source,
Yeah.
probably.
That's where I took the list from. I assume that's relatively up to date. So I'm going to kind of.
And if it's not, we're sorry. It's not our fault.
And I think this is in alphabetical order. So, are you ready for the list?
Yeah, you do it.
Oh, so you want me to give my ranking?
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. So I'll read one off. And so what? Okay. So I'll read one off, say what they are, and then say where in the. You want me to read them off like the top of the list, the bottom of the list?
Your choice.
I mean, how am I attacking this?
Pick an order.
Well, because I was going to just go down the list that they offered, and which is in alphabetical order.
We'll do alphabetical order. That's.
And then how do I define like who my front runners are?
I think we'll give them a score,
Yeah,
and then at the end,
like a 1 to 10 score.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay.
So like I'll say so I would say Cory Booker's like a 7,
No, on your
like a 1 to 10 scale.
yeah,
Okay, so Cory Booker's a 7.
a 7. Why is
Okay.
first? Who's Cory Booker?
Cory Booker. So he was from New Jersey, right? I have no idea how to do a New Jersey accent.
What the hell was that? This is what.
So I'm gonna paraphrase from their Ballotpedia synopsis of his career. So he kind of came to fame as the mayor of Newark. I think he kind of came to fame because when Mark Zuckerberg donated money to Newark, right? Was that kind of like his main?
Maybe.
I don't know.
He's pretty well known now, though.
Yeah, and so now he's a senator. So he's a senator from New Jersey. So he's a well-known guy. Has no hair. I think that have we had any bald presidents before? So I don't know. I mean, maybe he's a 6.
Maybe some of the ones with the pouch underneath their ball.
I mean, in a way, I'm laughing at this, but like some of those things matter. Like we talk about like the Nixon Kennedy debates, right? Like you talk about like why one person wins over another, like why do people get voted? Why do people vote for people? Sometimes it's looks.
Sometimes it's arbitrary.
So
sometimes it's I like his name because it's Bush, and that reminds me of gardening.
Whatever, yeah, it could be, right? So anyway, I put him at about a 7. So okay, so once we get to the end here, I think we should maybe talk about our top picks or whatever.
What does the 7 mean?
I'm saying like out of 10.
For what?
7 out of 10. So like a 10 would be like I think this guy's like a front runner.
So are we running on how likely
this one is to come out at the top?
How much you personally like them?
No, I don't personally like anybody on this list at all.
Of course not.
Well, okay, I shouldn't say that because Bill Weld's on the list. I think he's okay.
All right, so Cory Booker,
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep saying Booker because I had a teacher with that name.
Yep.
Cory Booker, he's well-ish known, like to the point where people go like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of him,"
Yeah.
but not know what he is.
Yep.
he's as far as is he very progressive or very moderate? He's pretty moderate, kind of a little corporate, but not very. He's like diet Hillary Clinton, I'd say.
Okay.
I know that's a weird way to put it. He's definitely a little more of a centrist, but not to that extreme.
Okay.
What would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's I guess I think he's kind of centrist. Sorry, I was writing a little spreadsheet thing here so we could average up our scores because I was going to get your score.
Yeah.
Too.
I don't know, just by his, the fact that when he first announced, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But what has he done since?
Well, he's a senator, so what has he done?
I mean, actual work, but what has he done to get his name out? I haven't seen much about him.
Well, this is the fundamental problem with senators, right? So they're not leading anything. This is why most of our commanders in chief, Obama being a notable exception, right, have been they've been governors. The the best way to become a president is to be a vice president or a governor.
Yeah.
So.
I think in his case, it's also an issue of platform. Not because I don't like his platform. I don't know what it is. A lot of these people we're going to go through have one key issue they really, really care about.
Oh, you know what? They actually mentioned this.
Okay.
So Booker's early campaign messaging has focused on unity I don't know, and finding commonality by addressing inequality and racial discrimination.
Okay, so I mean, that second part sounds nice, but what does that mean?
What does it mean? And is there somebody saying we don't want that?
And unifying sounds. Yeah. That's like the generic term you throw in to make yourself sound.
Right.
So I'm gonna give him more of like a 5, honestly.
Okay.
Not because he's a bad person, but because.
Okay. So just to clarify, so these ratings are what we see as like the chance of him like.
Taking that nomination.
Taking the nomination.
Not winning again. We're not even going to factor the actual general election in.
Yeah, okay.
We're just going to say, do they get the nomination?
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So so I picked 7, you picked 5, so that's an average of 6. So we'll go through who the top average getters are at the end, okay?
Cool.
All right, so then we have Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Is that how you say it?
It's Buttigieg.
Does anybody know how to pronounce it? I don't.
Oh, they make so well. The funny thing about that is he knows that's a problem, so he insists that everyone just call him Mayor Pete.
I have heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg.
Yep.
If you don't know anything about him, he's a former mayor of West Bend.
He's current mayor of South Bend,
Indiana.
Yep.
He is openly gay. He's former military. He just got married.
He was a lieutenant, or serves as a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy Reserve.
I remember he took time off from being mayor. He essentially retired from it to go and serve in Afghanistan. And he was, as of last month, a nobody.
Yeah.
Like a month or two ago, you had never heard of him. I had never heard of him.
Yep.
And he's gotten a lot of publicity recently, whether it be for he's a gay guy running, right, or for his actual message. I think he's a really good speaker.
Yeah. So that's it. Sounds like he's a good speaker. He's got a checkbox on the Democratic agenda. He's good looking enough, right? And I hate that these are things. In his platform, he's saying smart things, but like obviously it's very questionable as whether these are things we should be doing, right? So his platform is focused on policy issues that he's implemented as mayor, such as connecting with the global economy through investing in advanced industries, data, technology, and higher ed. Those all sound good.
Yes.
I'm not sure that the federal government should be investing in these things, but whatever. Yeah.
I think that is an advantage for him. He can point to South Bend and say, this place sucked. I made it better. Here's how.
Yeah.
But you also have the big downside for him being he's going to be underestimated because, he's just some mayor.
Yep. But I mean, all of these guys can point to successes they've had in a rising economy that was fronted by the incumbent. So like that'll all be interesting.
I do know one area he'll probably win though. South Bend, Indiana.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
sure. I bet he doesn't win Indiana, but we'll see. I mean, that'll be interesting. That'll be
Indiana's
interesting.
not quite
if
as
he wins the
purple as
nomination.
we are.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Would Indiana vote for a lovable mayor from their home state?
you go
Like
first this time.
Pence?
You go first this time.
Okay, for him,
Yeah.
I think it ultimately comes down to chance, to be perfectly honest. He could end up the next Obama, nobody who came out from left field. That's a pun.
Or-
Get it?
Yep.
And ends up just dominating it because he's a good speaker. He's got a good message, and he does get a bump from being some sort of minority.
Mm-hmm.
Or he could be like a footnote in the Wikipedia page of the 2020 election.
Right.
I can't say whatsoever. I like him a lot, though. But personal opinion on that should not be the main thing here. So I'm going to give him a 5 because he is still relatively unheard of, and we've only seen him on the road to the primaries for a month or so. So we don't know how he's going to last long term.
Okay, so all I can really do is compare what I perceive right now to be like his name recognition value against Cory Booker. And I think in the general population, it's pretty low for both of them.
Yeah.
And I might be overestimating Cory Booker even at 7, like you noted. So I think I'm going to go with a 5 on him too.
Well, that makes the average easier.
Yeah, because I was going to go with a 6, but I feel like I'm overestimating that.
I will say there is a universe out there where he wins the nomination. Is it this universe? Maybe not.
Right.
But so far, it's kind of occasion where we look at a line graph and you only see the first month and it's a straight shoot up. Does that continue or does it drop
Exactly.
back down?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So Julian Castro. So he is served as prior to running for office, he served as the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development during the Obama administration and also served as mayor of San Antonio for 5 years. So he's from Texas, obviously, San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So, he, potentially Texas could be up for grabs, which would be super interesting. If the typical Democratic voter is thinking strategically, he's, I hate calling anybody a minority, but he's Hispanic.
He's Hispanic and has a Hispanic name.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
People that are Americans, I don't know.
You're reading
they're all the
through
same,
this.
yeah.
You're
Yeah.
saying Obama experience, ties to the Obama
Yeah.
White House.
Yeah.
Texas, which is going to be a really interesting state this
Right.
time.
Right.
Important minority group for the Democrats. I'm hearing
Could be.
vice president.
Right.
I am not hearing presidential candidate.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, he'd be a great pick. Yeah.
What about platform? Do you know anything about?
So he emphasized education when announcing his candidacy.
Well, education is important.
He achieved universal preschool in San Antonio, which I think is actually pretty common. But I mean, at least attempts at that.
I wonder how common that is.
Well, I mean, we have it here.
Yes, we do.
So
In our local area, we do.
I mean, it's universally available. It's not mandated.
Yeah.
But
I went through it.
he's also promoted Medicare for all. And sorry about that.
Elliot, no. Right, but at this point, we can probably assume that everyone on the list has.
That's the thing. The differentiation between all the Democratic candidates is pretty slim.
Policy-wise, maybe.
Yeah, policy-wise,
because I
they
think
seem so close. Yeah.
at this point, if you're a Democrat running and you're not gung-ho on Medicare for all, you're going to get slaughtered.
Yeah. So we got like 20 more. So I guess I'll pick a number here. Like you said, I think he's a good Democratic candidate. I don't see anything coming out of this. I'm going to have to go with like a 3. I don't see him making like.
I was saying the same number.
Yeah, I don't see him
I
making.
don't like
either.
agreeing with you.
Well, I mean, but you know what? That's
Now, if we're
that's
counting
the odds.
vice, like VP pick,
No, I don't think so.
No,
You just got to make it out
separately. If you have to give a separate,
Well, because
number,
I don't like this is a case of you have to make it out of the primary. That's what we're gauging here. Like,
right.
This is somebody who's going to make it through the primary.
I don't see high chances for him, but I do see high chances as vice president. Maybe. Yeah. Who knows? Yep.
Okay, John Delaney, Democrat, member of the House of Representatives from Maryland.
I'll be perfectly honest and say I don't know anything whatsoever about him.
I really don't know much about him either.
Can you tell us?
Prior to his congressional career, he founded 2 New York Stock Exchange companies, as well as Blueprint Maryland, a nonprofit organization.
What does that mean? New York Stock Company?
He founded 2 companies, like 2 companies that ended up on the New York Stock Exchange. Which, I mean, that's not a thing everybody has done.
No.
I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
That sounds...
But that doesn't mean that he's going to be, somebody that people vote for.
Well, does that mean he's maybe a little more pro-business than other candidates?
Yep. So his campaign motto is focus on the future. So much like Buttigieg, he's also, talking cooperation, bipartisanship, technology, automation, saying the right buzzwords, I think.
I don't like one of those words.
Technology.
No, I like technology.
I know what you mean.
I don't like the focus on cooperation and bipartisanship.
Well,
don't get me wrong. We are literally on a show about bipartisanship, and not just but universal partisanship.
Right.
But I don't think that wins an election. I don't say let's work together with those Republicans, guys.
I think it's going to be tough for a guy like this to win the nomination this year. So 1 out of 10, what do you think?
4.
I'm going to go with 3 again. I can't see him making it. He's a business guy, but he's not a minority. If he was a Republican,
I mean, essentially, to be perfectly frank, this 1 out of 10 could also be read as 1 being most like Hillary Clinton, 10 being not.
You know what? If Hillary Clinton was on this list, I'd probably put her at a 5, even odds.
I'd give her a 1.
I'd give her even odds of getting the nomination.
Well, depends on how much rigging they're doing this.
Right. But I mean, part of that is being
that's
part
of a factor we need to talk about.
You do, because the Democratic Party is a machine.
Yeah.
And who has the most influence on the machine, right? So somebody like Cory Booker might have a ton of influence on the machine. Somebody like Castro might have a lot of influence on the machine. So, maybe I'm discounting Castro too much. I don't know.
Maybe.
All right. So we're down to Tulsi Gabbard. I'm sure I butchered that name completely. She is from Hawaii.
Hawaii.
She is a representative from Hawaii. So I've never heard of her before.
It's funny because you and I are both
the first Hindu elected to Congress.
That's kind of
2012.
You and I are both very politically minded people, and
Yeah.
we pay attention to this stuff. And half of these people, we don't know who they are.
I mean,
can you imagine it for the general populace?
I mean, there's a few hundred people in Congress, and they change every few years.
But also,
It's super hard.
So many people announced they were running back to back to back to back.
I know.
It got hard to keep track of.
I know. So there was a few weeks there where, they just got lost in the shuffle. Like I don't.
That's
even know
why Biden's waiting.
I don't even know when she announced. She announced in January 11th, and there were a bunch in January. Yeah, she was lost in the shuffle. So she was previously in the Hawaii House of Representative, Honolulu City Council, and she was deployed in 2 tours of duty in the Middle East. So she's a veteran.
All right, military experience, just like we saw with Pete Buttigieg. Big plus. We cannot. It sounded like Trump there. Big. You cannot downplay how big of a boost you can get from military experience. I mean, look at how many people in the past have run on that. John McCain used that as a big thing. John Kerry.
Right.
It is very common. That's definitely a plus you can't ignore here.
Yeah. I don't know. So veteran, female, minority. I don't know. I'm going to have to go with, she has no name recognition.
No, none.
But I got to go with a 5 because I got nothing on that. Like
I'm gonna give her a 6. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt with that. But I'm not like passionately like, oh yes, when I hear that.
Yeah. but I gave Buttigieg a 5 also. He's ahead of her right now.
I really like him, but there have been cases of people doing things really, really well at first and then just tanking.
And I feel like that's consistent. I still feel out of this list, I feel like I probably gave Castro short shrift, but you tainted my brain with that vice president talk. So, all right, let's move on. All right. So, Gillibrand.
I think it's Gillibrand.
Why do people spell their names stupid if they want me to pronounce it with a,
Did you decide how your last name was spelled?
No, but
should it have been with an E or an O?
You should pronounce it the way that it's spelled.
Everyone must conform to Elliot's.
To the English language.
What if the English language says that G's are pronounced as J's?
They aren't. It's always a hard G, like giraffe. Okay.
Okay. So
let me purchase you some gifts.
Okay.
So, Kirsten Gillibrand, I guess. Gillibrand?
I've heard Gillibrand.
Okay, I have really no idea. I don't, probably Gillibrand. I guess maybe I have heard it that way. So
Senator from New York?
Is the senator from New York. Yeah, sorry, I was looking down below. So early on, she focused her campaign on economic and social issues, including addressing sexual assault in the military, healthcare for 9/11 first responders. Is that a big thing? Yeah, I don't know. Increasing transparency in politics, Medicare for all, and universal paid family leave. Like healthcare for 9/11 first responders, I guess that's a thing. Like, I'd be in favor of it, but but like, is that a national issue that like people are really gonna like go to the poll for? Like, I don't know.
I mean, it is a good message to have. I support the people who served us.
But like, okay, so if I'm looking at her versus Tulsi Gabbard, and I'm like, all right, you're not a minority.
No,
you're not a veteran. I don't know.
I've heard her name a lot more though.
I have too, but she's a senator. So
I'm not excited about her, but I know she's co-signed some some very progressive bills. She definitely seems a lot more on the progressive side. On the actual scale of like Hillary to not like Hillary, she's more on the not like Hillary, but she's no Bernie. So she's kind of in the middle of those two camps, the centrist and the hard progressive Democratic.
You get a leg up by being a senator because there's fewer senators.
Yes.
So.
I don't know. I'll give her. I feel very much at a 6 here, and I think the big reason she doesn't have a good, story, I guess, to push.
I don't know what it is.
She's not exciting.
She's been campaigning in Iowa.
So has everyone and their mother. I think I'm scheduled to campaign in Iowa next week.
I know, right? Okay. Yeah, so you're giving her a 6.
I am.
You gave Gabbard a 6, and you gave Cory Booker a 5. I just don't know, like.
I think, being a woman helps.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah.
But I think especially this election,
she has a little name recognition, but is that like more than the Buttigieg effect right now? I guess I would. Yeah, I kind of would go.
I think people.
I'm gonna go with. This is my first 4, so it's like
4.
It's kind of in between the 3s and the 5s there. Yeah, I think that's where I put her. Okay, so Mike Gravel. That one is the first one I think I pronounced correctly so far.
I don't even have him on my list.
Democratic former U.S. senator from Alaska.
Who? Honest question. Who? I mean, no offense to, because I'm sure he has supporters and whatnot, but I have, despite the fact that I swear I've combed through this list before, I've literally never heard his name.
Okay, I'm going to read this whole thing. This is super bizarre. I don't understand. He announced that he was running for president on April 2nd.
That's
okay. Relatively recently, fine. But whatever. Gravel does not intend to seek the Democratic nomination.
Hang on. What?
Our only aim is pushing the field left by appearing in the Democratic debates.
So you mean do Bernie Sanders?
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
So can we give him a 0?
The Gravel campaign tweeted, a spokesperson said Gravel would withdraw from the race and endorse the most progressive candidate. Would withdraw when? after the debates.
All right, so I'm gonna give him a solid
I don't
0
even
out of
understand. Like,
because that is stupid.
the whole deal is stupid. I'm going 0 too. I don't even understand what that means.
No, that's
you
That's
said you're not
stupid.
running, but you just announced.
so you're just there to push things progressive. Well, guess what? They're already being pushed progressive.
Yeah.
That is you trying to ride the coattails of the progressive wave to get yourself more notoriety.
Yeah. We already have an idiot from Alaska. We don't need another one.
Sarah Palin?
Oh, yeah, her too. Yeah. Who did you think I was talking about? All right, Kamala Harris, Democratic
You
member
need to
from
start.
California. So her focus has been on economic issues, including universal pre-K, debt-free college, tax cut for working and middle-class families of up to $500 a month, and Medicare for all. So free. She has been talked about a lot, though.
She has.
I mean, I would put her up there with any of the front runners right now.
So I'm going to say personally, I do not like Kamala Harris.
Yeah?
Yeah. She had a big campaign moment very early on. She blundered hard.
Yeah?
She was asked about marijuana usage.
Yeah?
And asked if she had ever, consumed marijuana.
Yeah?
And she said, yeah, in college. I remember we were sitting there listening to some Biggie and Tupac.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. I remember that.
And she graduated in like 86.
Right.
And she's hired a large part of her staff that she's hired for this are directly from Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Okay.
So she is very much trying that same strategy, and she's very much trying and also failing to play the I'm hip and cool.
I mean,
and that type of idea about yourself in the general public sticks. Nothing sticks more than I'm a lame person.
but you know
trying
what?
to be cool.
You know what, though? Like, you and I pay attention to this stuff. Average person on the street.
That's
Still
literally the only thing I've ever heard about her talked about by other people.
Yep, me too. Yeah.
So
But I think they'll forget. And I think
I
they'll
don't mind
forgive.
her policy platform, but that's not what we're really talking
No,
about. here.
we're not talking about that at all. Or these would all be zeros.
What what I hear from her is I'm not being genuine.
Yeah.
That is like the pure exact opposite of Pete Buttigieg.
He's not.
I don't know. I'd give her a 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brutal.
I know.
Okay. All right. I think I was going to go first there.
You guys can argue with me in the comments or on Facebook or whatever.
I'm going to give her a 6. I don't know. I feel like Buttigieg has got to be a 6 too. I'm reforming that.
What was your number before?
5. I think there's.
So what you're saying is you're liking him more as we go on.
No, I just feel like that like he's sort of a front runner. Cory Booker, I still feel, has more like power in the party, and I think that matters. And especially, but all bets are kind of off. I still feel comfortable at the 7. I felt like I kind of underpowered. I feel like I might have underpowered Castro a little bit. All right, so we're down to Hickenlooper.
Hickenlooper. I like his name.
Well, yeah, true.
And
Former governor of Colorado. He was pretty popular as governor, I think, too.
And people, when people think of a state that's doing well, Colorado is pretty up there in the list. It's got its problems.
Yeah.
But, when we're in Wisconsin, we're like, man, it must be cool living in Colorado.
Yeah.
Right? And there's certainly a lot of reasons for that, but there's one really big one. And I don't know if he had any involvement whatsoever with legalization or what involvement he did have. But just to the average layman, hearing Colorado guy running, that's what you hear.
Yeah. I mean, well, he certainly didn't fight it.
No.
And he is Democrat. So, I mean, I think he was probably mostly.
So my understanding, I do know a little bit about him, is that Colorado, despite the fact that, subconsciously it's become the weed place, is a very purple state.
Yeah.
Particularly because they've got a lot of very wealthy people.
Right.
And he is one of those almost like a Tim Kaine type who's very good at playing the middle.
Yeah.
And he himself tends to be very purple.
Yeah. He seems pretty centrist. Interesting that he pushed through gun control legislation in Denver, in Colorado. Expanded background checks. I just feel like isn't Colorado like the Wild West? Like that just seems
I feel like
so weird to me. Yeah. But notably, he was involved in opening 15 brew pubs and restaurants in several states, including he had some involvement with Titletown. So
cool.
So he is a governor, so that gets him a +1 automatically.
Yes.
He is like outside of Colorado. I mean, so he gets Colorado, but it's a small state.
But it's a state everyone knows at least something about.
They know what Colorado is, right? And they know marijuana equals Colorado, right?
But
now,
but like you get more of an image in your head of that than someone saying, "I'm the governor of Iowa," or "I'm the governor of Arkansas."
Fair enough.
I'm the governor of Rhode Island.
Yeah, so you get some positive vibes there. So it's like a +0.5 on that. So let's say if I think he's like middle of the road-ish, I would give him a. I'm going to go with a 6 on him too.
I think he's got a very key advantage for the general election.
Yeah.
And that's that he has plenty of experience playing with the moderates and the undecided voters.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to hurt him in the primaries.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him a 5.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that's with the plus from being governor.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's just it. The all of these numbers are dragged down because there's so many people in play.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
we saw that in the last election with the Republicans.
Yeah. And it's going to end up funneling some of these numbers into one bucket because they just suck the air out of the room. So, Jay Inslee? Am I saying that right? Democratic governor of Washington.
So again, another governor who is the governor of a pro-weed state, which is important. For some people, it's very, very important, and is the single issue that they'll vote on. But what do you know about him, if anything?
Well,
I'm not very familiar with him.
He used to be in the House. He was in the House for a number of years. So I think that's where I heard of him. The name does sound familiar. So he might have been on some like committee that I.
The only thing I know about him, besides he's from Washington, is that he's very big on climate change stuff.
That's what he said. That's my main thing. Yeah. Okay.
But I feel like a single issue candidate's not going to do very well.
Yep.
I feel
he's a 2 for me.
I still got to give him that governor bump.
That's with the bump.
Wow. I'm going to give him a 3. Tough crowd we are.
There's too many candidates.
I know.
I mean, you put him head to head against Hickenlooper. There's no contest.
I see no way a single
contest. Yeah, he's a single issue guy.
Single issue guy can win.
And it's kind of a loser of an issue. Like nobody's gonna vote as that being their single issue.
No, it's healthcare.
Yeah.
Or for some people, it's weed.
Right.
Criminal justice reform, maybe.
Yeah, because it's not like all the other Democratic candidates are like, I don't care about the environment. Like,
right.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. And even Trump, he's a little soft on certain things like, coal and whatever, but like there's certain things that he's not. So even that's kind of a stupid single issue. So, all right. So Amy Klobuchar, Klobuchar.
Cloudbit. She's from Minnesota.
So this is.
We should be used to names like this.
You know what though? Like part of the problem is though, like I intentionally didn't look these up too though.
Right.
If people can't pronounce your name and you're not getting the message out, that's gonna be tough. They're not gonna feel comfortable with it.
So, I talk to a lot of very liberal people.
Yeah.
And I ask about certain candidates, right? Mm-hmm. And I ask, what do you think about the lady from Minnesota? Because I never say her name.
Yeah.
And they go, well, who?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
here's the weird thing, though.
Yep.
Maybe 10% of the people I've talked to
Yeah.
say she is my absolute diehard favorite candidate.
What? Really?
Yes. She is, in particular,
Yeah.
very, very well liked with people who are very pro like women's rights. She got really, really, really well known because she was one of the people interviewing Kavanaugh during his hearings, and she was really tough on him. And she's writing that.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
But okay,
I also know she's made drug addiction a big part of her platform. You know,
well, so the things it says here in Ballotpedia, she might have said some of those things too. Said that she announced several focuses for her campaign, including automatic voter registration. I think that's great.
yeah.
That's one of the first things I agree with on here.
All right.
Reducing the amount of money in politics. I mean, that sounds good. I don't know how you plan on doing that. Probably with regulations. I am against that. And reinstalling climate regulations that were eliminated by the Trump administration. It depends what you're talking about there. So, she seems kind of based on that. I don't know.
So, do you think geography is a plus or minus for some people? Because I kind of see being from the Midwest as a good plus. Because there are several key swing states in this area. Wisconsin's a swing state. Ohio, Pennsylvania. Well, Pennsylvania's not very Midwest, but economically, they're very similar to us.
A plus in which way?
Do you think
So, I mean, in terms of the primary?
yes. Like, do you think people in Wisconsin would be more likely to vote for someone knowing they're from their neighboring state? Do you think
No.
Minnesota should win?
No. I don't think that matters.
This is another occasion where I'm seeing more vice president-y,
Mm-hmm.
and I think she'd be a very good vice president. But I think she could still stand on her own if the field's narrowed down and she manages to survive the first couple purges.
Maybe I watch too many political dramas. Like, vice president is like, whatever. Anybody could be vice president.
Yeah.
That's like the job you give to the person you hate.
I'm going to give her a 6.
Yeah, she gets a 2.
Wow.
So 2. I just don't understand, like, what's her deal? Like, she's a woman. I guess she gets the woman bump, so she gets a 3. Because she's indistinguishable to me from Inslee. Other than she's a woman. I don't know. So what did you say you're giving her? A 6?
6.
I don't see that.
I don't know. I feel there is a chance for her. More than some of the other.
She maybe has a little more name recognition, but not much. I can't even pronounce her name. I know I've heard it before even.
But I think more than any candidate.
But I've heard Inslee too.
Remember, Hillary Clinton had a big base of. Hang on.
She had huge name recognition.
Hang on. Hillary Clinton had a big base of feminists.
Yeah.
There are lots of feminists who are, we want a woman.
Yeah.
I think Amy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but she lost, right?
Yes. But she won the primary.
Did she though?
You know you're baiting me on that question, and that's not very fair because I'm trying to move on.
I know. This is the problem. Like we're giving some decent commentary on this, and it's like, well, all bets are off with the Democratic Party. They'll just pick who they want anyway. So Wayne Messam, who I know nearly nothing about, but he's black, he's bald. The focus of his campaign will be canceling $1.5 trillion in student debt.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a disaster, but
It's
popular. Especially in the primary, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because kids get out and vote in the primary.
He's another mayor.
He's
The
mayor.
second mayor on this list.
Yeah.
And
So in Florida, which is a swing state, it's a swing state. One thing I saw though is that Florida, and even more so than Wisconsin, there are equal numbers of people that vote either way. The people themselves are very set in their ways. They don't switch.
right,
We will switch a little bit.
a little.
They don't switch.
There is definitely some
So
in the middle people here, but
Yeah.
still not that many.
So like he's got the minority thing going for him. He is a mayor, so he's got some executive thing, but I mean,
Okay.
he is just a mayor.
But that's the thing. We talked about with Pete Buttigieg earlier.
Yeah.
He's just a mayor.
Just
that
a
was
mayor.
a downside.
Yeah.
But Pete Buttigieg was able to overcome that and still get his name out.
Yeah.
This guy so far hasn't.
So far has not.
I don't know. Being from Florida, I feel is a plus for him. I also feel that being black is a good plus for him, right? But I also know he's like, I do know a little bit about him, and I get the sense that he's very, very progressive.
Yeah.
Like one of the top 5 most progressive on the list. And personally, I have nothing against that. I'm very progressive myself.
Right. But this is more the odds, right?
He's very much a long shot.
Yeah.
Now, I think I hate to use it again, but vice president, because people pick their vice president strategically every single time. That's how it always works.
I just say,
Unless you pick Tim Kaine.
You got 2 guys. You got Cory Booker and you got Messam, and like ethnically, they're similar. Who are you gonna pick?
The one from Florida, the one who's also progressive.
Who's gonna do that?
I think
The average voter doesn't know this guy. The average voter has heard of Cory Booker. The average voter, even who votes in the primary.
Okay, but I don't. Did the average person know anything about Sarah Palin?
But she didn't run for president.
No, she was chosen as a vice president.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I see him very much
Yeah.
as vice
It's a
president.
2.
I'd say a 2 as well.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'd put him number 1 on the list of most likely to be vice president.
That could be strong because it is Florida. Yeah. Yeah.
At least of the ones we've gone through so far.
Yeah.
I haven't looked down the rest of the list. Who's next?
Seth Moulton, Massachusetts representative. He was in the Marines, 4 tours in Iraq between 2003 and 2008. One of the first groups to reach Baghdad during 2003.
Military service. Again,
Yep,
plus.
he's one of the Democratic members of the House that voted against Pelosi as Speaker.
So,
So that could be a pro. I don't know.
but remember the Democratic Party. So that gives him, in my mind, a minus because the party
Probably.
would not support him.
Probably, right?
Keep going though.
Right. Let's see. And his campaigns have regularly called for new leadership both within the party and in Washington.
So what you're saying is he's not getting the nomination.
That's what it sounds like to me.
I like that. I like people who want change, but
Okay.
change will not get you the
But
nom-
he said, I'm not a socialist, I'm a Democrat. And I want to make that clear. Maybe this is a differentiator in this race.
Maybe
Yeah.
3.
I actually was going to say 3 too, because
Stop agreeing
Yeah.
with me, Elliot.
well, I mean, mostly because like he's got no chance except for that last statement. You know, it's like I'm not a socialist, and I think like some people are gonna be like, yeah, we can't, we're not gonna elect a socialist. Let's be real, right? I think that's gonna matter. So we are on to Beto,
Beto
whatever.
O'Rourke.
I don't know. You gotta.
We have discussed him before.
Isn't it supposed to be Hispanic in some way? Beto.
No, he's Irish.
What?
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to be Hispanic.
No, he's Irish.
What's the Beto then? I thought his real name is
It's his
something
name?
completely different. No, it's not.
I don't know.
That's like a nickname.
I don't know.
No, it's something about his whatever. All right. So anyway, so 2 for him.
I give him high. I'm going to give him an 8.
What?
Yeah.
That's your highest score yet?
Yes.
What? He does have
popular in
he
Texas.
has name recognition. He didn't even win in Texas.
No, but he
though.
almost won against Ted Cruz in the most conservative part of Texas.
2 percentage points. Previously served on El Paso City Council. Served in the House from 2013 to 2019.
Most important, I think, is he is one of those candidates who would, because he's a little bit of everything in this case. I think.
He's a little bit of what? He's a little bit of nothing.
Let me explain. Everyone in the Democratic Party, I think, could find at least a little to like about him.
Which also waters him down.
Yes. But in this case, when you've got people being knocked out of the race, they're going to want someone to latch onto as their next best choice. And I think for a lot of the different people who are supporting one candidate, he will be the next best choice.
So
He's younger.
This is
he's
sort of the problem with.
He skateboards. He was in a punk band. He did very well in Texas. He's got name recognition. He's progressive, but not too progressive.
Got some name recognition. So
He's very popular with Hispanics in his home
Do
state.
I think Cory Booker's more well known than he is?
Maybe a little. And he is definitely not an old guard Democrat.
No, I'm going with a 6 for him.
That's still pretty high.
Yeah. No, I mean, I recognize he has name recognition.
Yeah.
I recognize that he has recognition. Yeah. I sound like Nancy Pelosi. All right. Tim Ryan, representative from Ohio, focus on manufacturing jobs, keeping jobs in the U.S. Oh, so he's like Trump. I understand the legacy of job loss. I understand where we need to go. The country's so divided that we can't get a plan together. Build a wall. No, I don't.
Wow. Okay.
He served as 8 terms in the House and unsuccessfully challenged Pelosi for House leadership in 2016. Prior to his congressional service, Ryan was a member of the Ohio State Senate. That's it.
Is there anything there that piqued your interest?
Nope.
No, me neither.
Nope.
Um,
He's my first one.
ooh.
There's nothing there.
Wait, no.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, no.
He's not a senator. He's
Same.
not a governor. He's got nothing. He's not a minority. He's got nothing.
And his platform is
His platform is like
it's important. I see the idea.
I want to focus on jobs in a great economy.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like, okay,
There's a
good luck with
benefit
that.
to being from Ohio, being from a Rust Belty, manufacturing law state. But
I guess
there are others who can do that well too. I mean, look at Pete Buttigieg has
Right.
already made that a big part of his platform.
Yeah.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, he might mop the floor in his home state. Like he might lose in his home state even. Yeah. So
Pulling the Kasich, are we? Oh wait, no. Did Kasich win Ohio? I don't know.
All right, what are you
Anyways.
saying?
I gave the same number.
You gave a 1.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. I feel,
All right, your favorite.
Man, so this is why I don't get invited to any of the big Democratic Party.
Why?
Because I give their candidates ones.
Well, I mean, we're picking the odds. And,
All right.
and it's being
I
real.
think I know who's next on the list.
Bernard. Colonel Bernard Sanders.
We have to. All right. I think we can skip explaining him.
He focused on economic issues, including Medicare for all, the Green New Deal, $15 minimum wage, expanding the estate tax, limiting the size of banks, and tuition-free college.
He is the most progressive.
The one thing I agree with him on is the bank thing.
Yeah. So he's the most progressive person on the list by far. I mean, he is literally the progressive movement.
Yep.
And he did.
The bank thing, though, he's not wrong about.
He did pretty well in 2016, all things considered.
Yeah.
He's got name recognition more than anyone on the list of actual, I'm definitely running, right? He's raised tons of money, but he's old.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm torn on this because you know me. I like Bernie. I like Bernie a lot.
Yep.
I like him as much as you dislike him.
This isn't about like.
No.
This
But
is about what you think other people like or what you think the
I think
odds
people
are.
will like him. But he's too old. So that does get him some minus points. Now, I think realistically, if we're calculating the odds, I'm going to give him a 6. But I think his grand strategy is not to try for the nomination. It's to push the party more left again and then pick one of the other more progressive people to be his, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, the person he passes his votes on to. Essentially, he drops out at some point maybe, and he endorses Warren or endorses Buttigieg or someone along those lines, one of the other big progressives. But I'm going to give him a 6. And for you, sir.
He's a 10.
A 10? Ooh. So you don't think the
Based on the information today,
Yeah.
if the primaries were held today, especially,
Yeah.
based on the information we have, he would mop the floor with everybody.
I think so.
Yeah.
But can he last through the process?
And I mean, and so I did discount some points for Buttigieg for the same reason. I'd
Will
knock
he
him
be
to a
sabotaged?
6. Will he be sabotaged? And the age thing knocks him down, but everybody else has negative points too that knock him down. And I think I factor those in implicitly already.
I mean, I think Bernie's great.
It has nothing to do with how I feel about him. He's the front runner.
Unless Biden runs.
But he has not announced yet. So,
Because Biden's a weirdo.
well,
Regardless of what you think of Joe Biden.
And honestly, I don't know that Biden is the front runner.
Probably not.
Part of it is like being so cagey about, well, I don't know if I'm running. Like, that's weird.
Regardless of what you think of Biden politically, personally, or anything, there is no way to not call him weird.
Biden?
Biden is
Yeah,
very
he's got some weird, like that whole like grabbing.
I think
people thing is
realistically,
weird, yeah.
Bernie Sanders is the absolute front runner,
Yeah.
but I'm worried about that as a long-term thing.
Well, Bernie's weird. Biden's weird. All the old guys are weird. we need some young, normal people.
Like,
All right.
a gay veteran from Indiana
Whatever.
who's like 36, 37.
We could do worse.
It's weird because of our front runners have actually announced people throwing Biden out the window. The big front runners that are talked about are either, a rotating list of Warrens and Harrises and whatnot, but it's always the people getting talked about right now are Bernie Sanders
Yep.
and Buttigieg.
Yeah.
The oldest candidate
Yeah.
and the youngest candidate.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Those kinds of things get the attention though too. Something that makes you stand out.
I don't know. I feel worried though for Bernie Sanders' campaign.
He's old.
He's old
But
and
people love him. So
people
like,
do
whatever.
love him. But the party establishment does not.
Well,
But could they stop him again? I don't think so.
no. So there could be a party crisis caused by the whole thing too.
Yeah.
So Eric Swalwell, representative from California. Policy proposals include a national mandatory buyback of military-style semi-automatic assault weapons.
So what you're saying is he's not getting the nomination?
Go that far yet? Universal background checks for weapons. Called for no interest federal student loans.
I like that part.
Debt-free college
Yeah.
for work-study students. Work-study. I don't know exactly what that means. An increased investment in curing diseases like ALS and Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Mm. All right. So gun buybacks and all that, that's not going to make you popular.
It's going to attract certain people, but he's still near the bottom there.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I'm very wishy-washy on him.
I gave that Tim Ryan guy a 1. This guy's a 1.
Also, his list of stuff. He's a congressman from California.
Yeah.
So is everyone and their mother.
Right.
2?
Yeah. I mean,
2.
all right. So Trump is on this list. Just because he's running. So
Yeah.
He will.
Trump,
But
I think he's my only 10 on the list.
he'll win the nomination.
That's what we're rating here.
Okay, right. And that is because Bill Weld is currently on the list too.
Yes, but he's winning the nomination.
Yep.
I think he could literally go out into the street and start murdering people himself, and he would still get the nomination.
Yeah. You know what? I should adjust my Bernie Sanders because I should say 9 because I think there's a non-zero chance that he could, not get it.
I don't know why I'm more worried about him getting the nomination than you
And
are.
I should actually say Donald Trump is probably 9 because I do think there's a 1 chance that Bill Weld could get it.
I don't know. I guess what I'm thinking is between Buttigieg, if Buttigieg, Sanders, and Warren have the same exact platform, who do you vote for?
Yeah.
And in that situation, I feel there will be people who won't vote for Sanders over that. I mean, there's the
They
people
cancel
who
each
would,
other out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
and I think of the 3, Sanders loses. He doesn't get the votes for, I'm definitely voting for the gay guy. I'm definitely voting for the woman.
He also has the fewest negatives.
Yes.
You know, so it's like
It's tough, though. It's tough to the point where, as I'm thinking about this, I can't give him the highest number.
yeah. All right, so we are down to Elizabeth Warren now.
Warren?
What do you give her?
She's got baggage.
Yeah.
She's got a pretty, sure, it's minor baggage, but she's got a lot of little things that people don't like about her. You personally don't like a couple things about her, right?
Well, okay, so her focus on her campaign was on economic issues, including proposing a wealth tax on the wealthiest 75,000 families to partially fund universal child care, student loan debt relief, the Green New Deal, and Medicare for all. A tax on the wealthiest 75,000 families will do nothing to even approach paying for those things.
All right, we'll set that aside.
It's not even
If
close.
we started talking about that's the only thing we talk about for the rest of this episode.
It's just not even close.
So she is very well known. She's one of the most well known people on this list. And she is known for being tough. You know, she definitely has that "I'm not taking your crap" vibe to her.
Yep, she's equally known for some of the controversial things she does.
Yeah.
You know, like lying about her heritage and all that.
She's very anti big bank, like more than Sanders.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
not
No.
it's not in her list here.
I know a good amount about her, and I think the majority of people know at least a little about her.
Yeah.
I mean, but if Sanders never drops out, she loses. If Sanders drops out, she's the front runner because she takes Sanders' votes. Yeah. Bernie Sanders and her, I do feel very much have the same exact base. Both cannot have high numbers, you know? So I feel like
Well, but they both have a strong chance individually of making it through.
but so did Rubio and Cruz.
And they
And they canceled each other out.
they both kind of cancel each other out, but they both made it kind of late in the process. Too.
Yes.
So, you know, at any point, they both had a high shot of making it through.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I stand by that.
But here's the big difference. The problem was Rubio and Cruz never worked together. They could have easily worked together and had one of them drop and support the other. Either one of them, and they would have beat Trump.
I don't know about that.
But
I don't know. I'm
no,
not
they
sure anymore. I don't know. To me, it's all insane. Clown world.
Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are very good friends,
Right.
and they have been for a long time.
Yeah.
Pretty much since Elizabeth Warren, got.
I'm going with a
position.
7 for Elizabeth Warren.
I'm gonna put her at the same exact number as Bernie, so 6. But that's a high number. Maybe my ratings is just
Okay.
a little harsh.
So Bill Weld, I have as a 1 because, and basically this just means, because Trump is the incumbent.
So
So this means like if something like kind of catastrophic happens where there's some kind of a crisis where Trump dies.
I mean, a heart attack at his age and eating habits are not.
It's a non-zero chance, right? Same kind of thing with Bernie Sanders. They're getting up there, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is, he's got a lot of shady baggage.
Can you tell us about him? You
About Bill
probably know
Weld?
more.
So he was a governor of. I'll pull up what the thing is. He was a governor of Massachusetts. He's he ran as vice president on the Libertarian ticket with Gary Johnson last time. So he should have a lot of policy ideas that should have broad appeal to people of both parties.
So what's going to happen with the Libertarian Party then?
I don't know who the candidate is. I don't think.
Are there candidates?
I don't think Gary Johnson's going to run again.
No.
He'd be the front runner if he wanted to.
Bill, I thought, Weld?
Yeah.
I remember him as Johnson's vice president pick.
Yep.
And
notably, Mitt Romney said that if the ticket were reversed, he would have endorsed the ticket. So
I think
this could be a thing where Mitt Romney would potentially endorse Bill Weld as
that's
Republican.
a good question.
I mean,
but would he have more success running as a libertarian? Because I thought he would be the next person to run as the
There's a money thing. There's a money
presidential
issue.
candidate, as the libertarian.
There's a money issue.
So are you saying he's pulling a Bernie Sanders?
Yeah.
So,
Kind of, yeah.
but he's doing it at the worst time when you're fighting an incumbent.
Yeah.
So is this
But
more?
it's a very unpopular incumbent among, certain circles,
So is this a case where he will push as a Republican, drop out, and then go with the libertarians? Or is it a case?
I don't think so. I think
Or is it a case of him setting up for 2024?
maybe, but he's not super young either.
I don't know, honestly. But yeah, you're right there with a 1. That
Yeah,
makes
he's
sense.
73, so I mean, he'd be as old as Bernie Sanders next
yeah.
time around.
He's old.
Bernie Sanders is 77 right now.
Yeah. So is Joe Biden.
Is Biden that old too?
Biden's, Google it. He's in his 70s.
Yeah,
Google it.
76.
76. So he's a year younger.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. I guess I thought he was maybe.
I mean, Trump's really old,
Mid-young.
too.
Yeah. So, okay, I gave Bill Weld a 1. What do you give him?
Same.
And-
For purely the reason, I mean, even with hell freezing over, it's very hard to fight an incumbent.
Well, and even if you're in the other party. All right, Marianne Williamson.
Who? Oh, there she is.
She is, I don't know.
66.
She ran to represent the 33rd Congressional District of California as an independent candidate in 2014. She did not win. So she's currently a lecturer and author who has written 12 books, including 4 New York Times bestsellers. So she's an author.
So what I'm looking at the New York Times summary of everyone.
Yeah.
And they're like little text underneath it.
Yeah.
For people. You've got, for Elizabeth Warren, it says senator from Massachusetts,
Yeah.
former Harvard professor.
What is her?
For her, it says self-help author.
Yeah.
New age lecturer.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
That's
She
not going
supports,
to.
She supports Medicare for All, the Green New Deal, $100 billion in reparations for slavery. Williamson said the U.S. foreign policy and national security should be based more on efforts to wage peace than on efforts to prepare for war. She is a solid 1.
All right, we're in agreement too much, but
You think that's
a
a 1?
fairly obvious one.
I think that's a 1.
Yeah.
I just.
That is fairly obvious.
I mean,
Thanks for running.
I don't know. I mean, I almost want to put her to 0.
Here's your participation trophy. Go home.
I mean, she only ran 1 campaign and she lost.
I mean, weirder things have happened, but
yeah. I mean, this would be like you or me running. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
no, but you don't have successful New York Times bestselling books.
Whatever.
No, I get what you're
Right?
saying though.
Right? Like. All right.
When people shouldn't be when they hear your name being announced, their first reaction should not be who,
Yeah.
and then their second should not be why.
All right. I'm gonna run out of power on my little computer
Uh-oh.
here. So
We only got a few more,
We
right?
got 1 more. This is the last one. So Andrew Yang. He is, prior to running for office, Yang founded Venture for America, a nonprofit organization that trains recent graduates and young professionals to work for startup companies in cities across the country. And he wrote 2 books, so he is also an author.
So I do know a little bit about him, and he is, to me,
He's the UBI guy.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's a proponent of universal basic income, which is basically everybody gets $1,000 a month.
Right.
Um,
So he's another single issue pusher.
yeah, he's a 2.
2. Why do we keep agreeing? I don't
Well,
like.
I mean, he's not completely out of nowhere. People have heard of him, but
No, I
like,
think he
but he's a
sounds
single
pretty
issue.
cool.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
but
All right, so if we look at the tops here, we got Trump obviously at the top. So our top vote getter otherwise is
Sanders probably.
No, because you were kind of low there. So our,
wasn't
oh no,
low.
Sanders is high.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sanders and Beto and Warren and then Booker.
I think those are not the worst estimates there.
Yeah. I mean, if you told me that that's how things shake out, I would be, yep. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't have much else to say about it.
I think
I think we probably spent a ton of time on this.
right. I think the wild card to watch is Buttigieg.
As of right now,
Yeah.
yeah, he's
But-
a wild card, and he had an average of 5.5 with us. So and Booker was 6. So like he's right there according to our ad hoc informal rating system, right? So
So I feel like
he's right there.
I feel like we're going to end up with a deadlock between 2 candidates once people get cut down. It's going to be one progressive, one moderate. And
But boy, there's 20 of them right now,
right,
and everybody hasn't announced. Biden will still be in,
Biden will
and
maybe,
and
unless this is like the greatest troll
and
of
there
all time.
and there could still be 1 or 2 others,
Yeah.
and that's if
In fact,
Howard
I'm
Schultz
announcing
doesn't
my
run.
right here, right now. I legally can't even run, so never mind. It was
right.
a bad
But
joke.
Howard Schultz is going to run most likely, but probably as some kind of independent, probably not as a Democrat.
Or not. I mean, how many times did Trump tease he was going to run before he actually?
Howard Schultz, I think, I mean, I don't know.
You're just addicted to his coffee, so you're biased.
I think that no pun intended. I think people are thirsty for
Oh my god.
for somebody that's has some centrist non-party views.
I don't think so.
Well,
I think
We'll
this
see.
is the dig
We'll
into
see.
your own trenches election.
I think we have maybe, let's even call it even thirds. I think there's more people in the middle, but let's call it even thirds, right?
All right.
Yeah.
So what are your final thoughts on all that?
I don't know. I guess when we look at this thing, we spend a lot of time talking through it, and I think
I mean, we learned new things about some of the candidates.
Yeah. There were some names I did not even know, and I guess I am a little bit surprised that I really didn't know anything about some of these. But I'm not surprised at where we came out on these. Really,
Can I ask you one
Yeah.
last question about it?
Yeah.
Who drops out first?
who does drop out first, or
Besides
who
the guy
should?
who straight up said that he's dropping out.
Yeah. I mean, so Gravel, he said he was dropping out basically. So,
Yeah.
but okay, so who does drop out first?
Yeah, I want your
I
prediction.
think it'll be somebody like a second tier person who feels like dropping out will help someone else that they care about, right? Where this will help them politically, right?
I think it's going to be the book lady.
No, because it won't help anybody. She doesn't care about anybody else. She's doing it
I
only.
think it'd be
She's doing it for popularity anyway.
I think it'd be a financial thing.
But it doesn't cost her anything to stay in.
Running a campaign's expensive.
She doesn't have to run. She doesn't have to run, right? She just has to do whatever costs to stay on the ballot.
So she's
right?
doing the economic thing.
Yeah. So actually dropping out, I could see somebody like if Buttigieg fizzles, I could see he'd be a dropout. Otherwise, Castro, we said Castro is maybe kind of more of a
Buttigieg has a very good chance of ending up as like Warren's VP.
Yeah.
If he drops. I
if
mean,
he drops, yeah.
the next month or two are the critical point for him.
Yeah. Any of these like second tier people, the ones that we had at like 4s and 5s, Kamala Harris could drop. If she doesn't get a little more traction, Klobuchar, so any of those could drop if they feel like dropping could benefit somebody else in the right way and they get the right favors. Because otherwise, why drop?
Right.
Why not play chicken like the Republicans did last time and say, well, you drop.
You want that cabinet. You.
All right, that's all I got. So
If you guys disagreed with our numbers, which I'm
Yeah.
sure you did, let us know either on the comments on YouTube or you can message us on Facebook through the Blind Partisan group, or I don't know, you can throw a rock through Elliot's window with it written on it.
don't do that. We reserve that for the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. They're the ones that threw rocks at my house. Yeah. But for sure, go and hit subscribe. And whether on iTunes or Spotify or Google Podcasts or on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe. Subscribes are important. That's how people find us, and that's what advertisers look at when they want to pay us some money. So
And,
that'll help keep us doing these.
If you really enjoy what we're doing here, you think these guys deserve to have their lights stay on, you can support us on Patreon to help us keep on Tugel and giving us new episodes.
All right, see you next time.